Hey folks, welcome back to Stoic Relationships. Let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a situation where you've stepped back, chosen silence, and suddenly the person you were distancing from starts reaching out again? It's like a switch flips, and they begin to notice the absence they once took for granted. Sound familiar? If it does, you're not alone. This is a dynamic so many of us encounter, and today we're going to dive deep into why this happens. Picture this. You've initiated no contact, not out of malice, but to protect your energy and refocus on yourself. You're working through the roller coaster of emotions, doubt, hope, maybe even a tinge of regret. And just as you start feeling more centered, they come back into the picture. A text pops up, a missed call, and suddenly the silence you carefully crafted is broken. But why now? Why, after all this time, do they feel compelled to return? Folks, this moment isn't random. It's the result of subtle but powerful psychological shifts that occur during no contact. Whether they realize it or not, your absence has created a ripple effect in their emotions and thought processes. Today, we're breaking down the reasons behind this phenomenon. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand why they return, but also how to navigate their reappearance with confidence and clarity. Now, let's talk about something important. No contact isn't just a tactic. It's a transformative period, both for them and for you. On their side, the absence forces them to confront their feelings, their ego, and the void you've left behind. On your side, it's an opportunity to heal, grow, and rediscover your strength. This dual transformation sets the stage for their return. But here's the thing, folks, their return isn't the goal. No contact is about you, not them. Their comeback is simply a byproduct of the space you've created to prioritize your own well-being. Let me share a powerful thought with you. Silence is your ally. It's not about playing games. It's about creating an environment where genuine feelings can surface. When you step back, you remove the distractions and noise, allowing both you and the other person to see things more clearly. This clarity is often what triggers their return. They start to miss the things they once overlooked, the support, the laughter, the connection. But folks, the key here isn't to let their return dictate your emotions. It's to approach the situation from a place of strength and self-awareness. During this video, we're going to uncover the psychology behind their return, step by step. We'll explore how your silence impacts their thoughts, why absence creates longing, and what this dynamic reveals about the relationship. These insights aren't just theoretical, they're grounded in human behavior and real-life patterns. Here's something to consider. When you initiate no contact, you shift the balance of power. By focusing on yourself, you're signaling that you're no longer willing to chase or settle for less than you deserve. This shift often unsettles them because it disrupts the dynamic they were comfortable with. Folks, this isn't about manipulation. It's about boundaries. And boundaries, as difficult as they can be to set, are essential for healthy relationships. So, what should you do when they return? That's a question we'll tackle throughout this video. But for now, let's focus on this truth. Their return doesn't define your worth. You are already whole, already valuable, with or without their validation. Understanding this is the foundation for navigating their reappearance with clarity and grace. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine standing on a solid, unshakable foundation while everything around you shifts and changes. That's the power of no contact done right. It centers you, grounds you, and allows you to face their return from a position of confidence, not confusion. And folks, when you approach their return with this mindset, you hold the key to deciding what happens next. But let me ask you, what would you do if they reached out today? Would you respond? Would you stay silent? Or would you use this moment as an opportunity to redefine the terms of the relationship? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear how you'd approach this situation. And don't forget, folks, this journey isn't one you have to take alone. Hit that subscribe button and join a community of people who, just like you, are choosing strength, growth, and clarity over chaos. Together, we'll navigate the complexities of relationships and come out stronger on the other side. All right, folks, let's get started. Number 1. Boundaries speak louder than words. All right, folks, let's talk about something that can truly redefine the way you approach relationships. Boundaries. Now, I know the word boundaries gets thrown around a lot, but do we really understand the weight they carry? Boundaries aren't just about keeping people at a distance. They're about defining how you want to be treated and, more importantly, how you treat yourself. Imagine this. You've just stepped into a period of no contact. You're not doing it out of spite or anger, but because you realize the importance of reclaiming your space. This decision, as tough as it may be, is a declaration. It says, I value myself enough to step away from behaviors or dynamics that don't align with my worth. Let's get real here, folks. Setting boundaries can feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're someone who's used to prioritizing others over yourself. You might worry, what if they think I don't care? What if they walk away for good? These thoughts are natural, but let me tell you something powerful. Boundaries aren't about them, they're about you. When you create space, you're not just protecting yourself, you're giving the other person the opportunity to reflect on what they've lost. Here's the thing. Boundaries speak volumes without you having to say a word. When you step back, it forces the other person to face the absence of your presence. They begin to notice the little things they once took for granted, the late-night conversations, your unwavering support, or even just your energy. Absence has a way of amplifying what was once overlooked. But folks, let's shift the focus back to you for a moment. The beauty of boundaries isn't just in how they affect others, it's in how they transform you. During this period of no contact, you're rediscovering yourself. You're learning to honor your emotions, to prioritize your needs, and to stand firm in your values. This isn't about waiting for them to miss you. It's about becoming the best version of yourself, regardless of whether they return or not. Now, I want you to think about the last time you set a boundary. How did it feel? Was it empowering or nerve-wracking? Either way, each time you honor your boundaries, you're building a stronger foundation for yourself. Boundaries aren't just about saying no to others. They're about saying yes to your peace of mind, your growth, and your worth. Let me share an analogy with you. Think of boundaries like a garden. When you set clear boundaries, it's like planting a fence around your garden. This fence isn't there to isolate you. It's there to protect what's inside. And what's inside? Your energy, your emotions, your well-being. By setting this fence, you're ensuring that only those who respect and nurture your garden are allowed in. But let's be honest, folks, setting boundaries isn't always easy. There will be moments when you feel tempted to break them, to reach out, to fill the silence. That's okay. What matters is that you recognize these moments for what they are, a test of your commitment to yourself. Every time you honor your boundaries, you're reinforcing your value, not just to them, but to yourself. And here's where it gets interesting. Boundaries don't just create space, they create clarity. They force both you and the other person to evaluate what's truly important. For them, it's a wake-up call. For you, it's a chance to grow. This clarity is what makes no contact so transformative. It's not about playing games. It's about creating the conditions for genuine reflection and growth. Folks, I want you to remember this. Boundaries are not walls meant to keep people out. They're bridges to your self-worth. They're a way of saying, this is who I am, and this is how I deserve to be treated. And when you approach relationships with this mindset, you're not just surviving, you're thriving. So, let me ask you, what's one boundary you've set in your life that's made a difference? Share your story in the comments below with this affirmation. My boundaries are my strength. Stick around, folks, because next, we're diving into how absence creates a space for clarity. Not just for them, but for you too. Let's keep this journey going. Number 2, the clarity of absence. All right, folks, let's dive into something truly transformative. The clarity that comes with absence. When you choose to step back, to remove yourself from a situation or relationship, it's not just about creating space, it's about creating clarity. And that clarity can change everything. Imagine this. You've entered a phase of no contact. At first, it feels uneasy. Your mind races with questions. Did I do the right thing? Will they notice I'm gone? What if they never reach out? These are natural thoughts because, let's face it, choosing distance can feel like stepping into the unknown. But here's the magic. Absence is not about fear or doubt. It's about creating room for growth, reflection, and realization. For the person on the other side, your absence becomes a spotlight. They're suddenly left to confront the space you once filled, the conversations, the support, the moments of connection. Humans are creatures of habit, and when something familiar is removed, it creates a void. And folks, voids demand attention. They force the other person to reflect on what's missing and, more importantly, why it mattered in the first place. But let's focus on you for a moment. Absence isn't just a tool for them to see your worth. It's a gift for you to rediscover it yourself. Think about it. When you're constantly engaging, it's easy to lose sight of who you are outside the relationship. No contact flips the script. It shifts the focus away from them and back to you. During this time, you begin to see things more clearly, not through the lens of what they think or feel, but through your own perspective. Let me ask you this. Have you ever noticed how silence can bring out the truth? When you step back, the noise fades. You start to notice patterns, how you were treated, how you felt, and what you truly deserve. Absence is like holding up a mirror. It reflects not just the dynamics of the relationship, but also your own growth and potential. Now, here's where things get interesting. Folks, absence doesn't just create clarity for you. It creates clarity for them, too. When you're no longer readily available, they're forced to confront their own feelings and behaviors. Maybe they realize how much they depended on you, or maybe they start to see the ways they took your presence for granted. This isn't about playing games. It's about creating an environment where genuine emotions can surface. Let me give you an analogy. Think of absence like pruning a tree. When you cut away the excess, it might look bare at first, but over time, the tree grows stronger, more vibrant. Similarly, when you create space in a relationship, it might feel empty at first, but that space allows for new insights to grow, for both you and the other person. But let's not sugarcoat it. Absence can be challenging. There will be moments when you want to break the silence, to reach out, to fill the void, and that's okay. What matters is recognizing that these moments are part of the process. Every time you resist the urge to fill the silence, you're reinforcing your boundaries and reclaiming your power. Here's something powerful to consider. Clarity doesn't always mean closure. Sometimes, the insights you gain during absence reveal that the relationship isn't what you thought it was. And that's okay, too. Clarity is about seeing the truth, not forcing a specific outcome. It's about understanding what's best for you, even if that means letting go. Now, let's talk about how this clarity impacts the other person. When they start to feel your absence, it triggers a series of realizations. They might replay old conversations in their mind, thinking about things they wish they'd said or done differently. They might begin to notice the void left behind, the texts that no longer come through, the support they no longer feel. And folks, this isn't about making them suffer. It's about giving them the space to reflect and grow. But let's not forget the most important part of this process: you. During this time, focus on your own clarity. Ask yourself, what have I learned about myself? What do I truly want in a relationship? These questions are the key to turning absence into empowerment. So, here's my challenge for you, folks. Think about a time when absence brought you clarity. Maybe it was a relationship, a friendship, or even a situation at work. What did you learn from that experience? Share your thoughts in the comments with this affirmation: I embrace clarity. And stick around, because next, we're diving into how loss can actually lead to powerful realizations. You won't want to miss it. Number 3, when distance feels like loss. All right, folks, let's dive into something that often feels like a paradox: the illusion of loss. When you step back, initiate no contact, and create space, the immediate reaction for many people is a deep sense of loss. But here's the kicker: what they feel isn't always the loss of you. It's the disruption of their comfort, their routine, their sense of control. Imagine this: someone becomes so accustomed to your presence that they start taking it for granted. You're the dependable call, the reassuring text, the constant support. Then one day, you step back. You're no longer there at the other end of the phone, and suddenly, they're confronted with a void. At first glance, it feels like they've lost you. But in reality, they're grappling with the absence of what you provided. Folks, this is the illusion of loss. It's not always about the depth of their feelings for you. It's about the disruption of their expectations. And understanding this distinction is powerful because it shifts the narrative. Their reaction isn't about your worth or your value. It's about the role you played in their life and how they relied on it. Let me share an analogy to make this clearer. Think of your presence like the steady hum of background music. It's always there, creating a sense of comfort, but often unnoticed. When the music stops, there's silence. And that silence can feel deafening, not because the music was everything, but because its absence is jarring. That's what happens when you step back. They miss the rhythm, the familiarity, the comfort of having you around. But here's the twist. Folks, this illusion of loss can lead to genuine realizations. Sometimes it takes stepping away for someone to truly appreciate what they had. Absence has a way of sharpening the focus. What was once overlooked becomes magnified, and what was taken for granted is now deeply valued. This is where the illusion of loss begins to transform into something real. Now, let's shift the focus to you. During this time, it's easy to fall into your own illusions of loss. You might think, if they cared, they would have fought to keep me. If they haven't reached out, maybe I didn't matter. But let me tell you something. Folks, no contact isn't about testing their love or their loyalty. It's about reclaiming your energy, your space, your power. When you step back, you're not just creating clarity for them, you're creating it for yourself. You start to see the relationship for what it was, not what you hoped it could be. This clarity is liberating because it allows you to separate your worth from their actions. It reminds you that you're not defined by someone else's response to your absence. Let me ask you this. Have you ever experienced a moment where you thought you'd lost something? only to realize it wasn't what you needed after all. This is the beauty of no contact. It forces you to confront these illusions and replace them with truths. Truths about your strength, your resilience, your ability to thrive even in the face of uncertainty. But folks, let's not ignore the impact this has on them. When they start feeling the illusion of loss, it often triggers a cascade of emotions. They might replay old memories, dissect past conversations, and question their choices. This isn't about guilt-tripping them. It's about giving them the space to reflect. And in that reflection, they often find clarity about what they truly value. Here's the key takeaway. The illusion of loss is a powerful motivator, but it's not the foundation of a healthy relationship. If someone returns solely because they miss the comfort you provided, it's not enough. True connection is built on mutual respect, understanding, and shared growth. That's why no contact isn't just about them realizing your worth. It's about you realizing it first. So, let me ask you, folks, what illusions have you let go of during times of no contact? How has stepping back helped you see the truth about your relationships? Share your thoughts in the comments below with the affirmation, "I see the truth clearly." And stick around, because next, we'll explore how nostalgia plays into this dynamic and why it often pulls people back when they least expect it. Let's keep going. Number 4, when nostalgia pulls them back. All right, folks, let's explore a concept that has likely touched all of us at some point. Nostalgia. It's that bittersweet feeling, a tug at your emotions when you think about the good times from the past. And let me tell you, nostalgia is one of the most powerful forces when it comes to relationships, especially after a period of no contact. Imagine this: you've stepped back, created space, and chosen silence. On the other side, the person you distanced from starts to reminisce. They're lying in bed, scrolling through old photos or revisiting memories that once brought them joy. And just like that, nostalgia creeps in. It's not just the big moments they remember. It's the small, everyday gestures, the way you laughed at their jokes, the thoughtful messages you sent, or even the quiet moments of comfort you shared. Nostalgia is tricky, folks, because it doesn't just bring back memories, it amplifies them. The good times feel even better in hindsight. And the bad times? Well, they often fade into the background. This selective memory can be powerful enough to make someone reach out, even when they were once determined to move on. But let's not romanticize this entirely. While nostalgia can make someone miss you, it's important to understand its limitations. People often mistake nostalgia for genuine connection. Just because someone misses the past doesn't mean they've changed or that the relationship has evolved. This is where your clarity and boundaries come into play. Now, let me share a powerful thought with you. Nostalgia doesn't work in isolation. It's often triggered by your absence. When you're no longer in someone's life, they begin to fill that void with memories. And the longer the silence lasts, the more vivid those memories become. But here's the twist, folks. Nostalgia isn't just about them missing you. It's about them realizing the value of what they had. Here's a little psychology behind this. When people reflect on the past, they tend to idealize it. It's a natural coping mechanism. They focus on what made them happy, often forgetting the challenges that may have existed. And this is why no contact can be so impactful. It gives them the space to revisit the relationship from a different perspective. But let's shift the focus to you for a moment. Nostalgia works both ways. During no contact, it's easy for you to fall into the same trap of romanticizing the past. You might start to remember the good times and overlook the reasons why you initiated no contact in the first place. This is where self-awareness becomes crucial. It's okay to acknowledge the positive memories, but don't let them cloud your judgment about what's best for your well-being. Folks, I want you to think about a time when nostalgia led you to reach out to someone. What drove you to take that step? Was it a genuine desire to reconnect, or was it the allure of the past? Understanding this can help you navigate the emotions that arise during no contact, both yours and theirs. Now, let's talk about what happens when someone acts on nostalgia. When they reach out, it's often accompanied by a sense of longing, a desire to recreate the moments that made them happy. But here's the thing, nostalgia alone isn't enough to rebuild a connection. It's a starting point, not the foundation. If someone comes back solely because they miss the past, it's important to assess whether they're truly ready to invest in the future. Here's an analogy for you. Think of nostalgia like a photograph. It captures a moment in time, a snapshot of happiness, but a photograph is static. It doesn't show the full story. It doesn't capture the growth, the struggles, or the lessons learned. Similarly, while nostalgia can bring someone back, it's the actions and changes they make that determine whether the relationship can thrive. But folks, let's not overlook the power of nostalgia as a motivator. When someone starts to remember the good times, it can be a catalyst for deeper reflection. They might begin to appreciate the effort, the care, and the love you brought into their life. And this is where no contact becomes transformative. By stepping back, you've allowed them to see the relationship through a new lens. So, let me ask you this. How do you balance nostalgia with reality? How do you honor the good memories without letting them cloud your judgment? Share your thoughts in the comments below with the affirmation, I cherish the past, but choose the present. Before we move forward, folks, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. By doing so, you're joining a community of like-minded individuals who are navigating relationships with strength, clarity, and self-awareness. Together, we're building a space where growth and connection thrive. All right, folks, let's dive into the next section, where we'll explore the psychological triggers that compel someone to reconnect after a period of no contact. You won't want to miss it. Number 5, how ego becomes the silent catalyst. All right, folks, let's dive into one of the most intriguing aspects of human relationships. Ego, often misunderstood. The ego plays a silent yet powerful role in someone's decision to come back after a period of no contact. It's not just about missing you, it's about what your absence awakens in their sense of self. Let's explore how this hidden motivator operates. Imagine this, you've created distance, you've taken a step back, and suddenly, the dynamic has shifted. For the first time, they're confronted with something unsettling, a challenge to their ego. Maybe they were used to being the one in control, the one who felt secure in your presence. But when you remove yourself from the equation, their confidence starts to wobble. They begin to think, how could they just walk away? Were they really that important to me? And the kicker? Their ego doesn't like the answers. Here's where the psychology gets fascinating, folks. The ego isn't inherently a bad thing. In fact, it's a natural part of being human. It drives us to seek validation, to protect our self-image, and to maintain a sense of control. But when the ego feels threatened, say, by your decision to step away, it reacts. Sometimes that reaction is impulsive, like reaching out to you just to see if you'll respond. Other times, it's more introspective, leading them to question their own actions and the choices that created the distance. Think about this for a moment. Have you ever noticed that people often want what they can't have? It's a classic case of ego at work. When you were readily available, they might have taken you for granted, assuming you'd always be there. But now that you've stepped back, your absence becomes intriguing, even magnetic. They start to wonder, why aren't they chasing me? Did I misjudge their feelings? What if they've moved on? These questions don't just feed their curiosity, They challenge their sense of importance. Let me share an analogy with you. Think of the ego like a mirror. When someone looks into it, they see their reflection, but the clarity of that reflection depends on their perspective. During no contact, the mirror shifts. Instead of seeing themselves as the center of your world, they're forced to confront the reality of your independence. And for many people, folks, that realization is a wake-up call. But let's be clear, not all ego-driven actions are created equal. Sometimes, their desire to reconnect comes from a place of genuine reflection. They've taken the time to consider what went wrong, why the relationship faltered, and how they might approach things differently. Other times, it's purely about validation. They want to know if they still have a hold on you, not because they're ready to commit, but because their ego craves reassurance. This is where your self-awareness becomes crucial. When someone reaches out after no contact, take a step back and evaluate their intentions. Are they seeking connection, or are they looking to soothe their bruised pride? It's a subtle distinction, but one that makes all the difference. Remember, folks, you hold the power to decide what's best for your emotional well-being. Let's talk about you for a moment. How does understanding their ego help you during no contact? First, it shifts the focus back to your own growth. By recognizing that their actions may be ego-driven, you're less likely to take their behavior personally. Instead, you can approach the situation with clarity and confidence, knowing that your decision to step back wasn't just about them. It was about reclaiming your strength. Now, let me ask you this. Have you ever found yourself acting out of ego in a relationship? Maybe you reached out to someone not because you truly wanted to reconnect, but because you wanted to feel validated. Or perhaps you've been on the receiving end of this, where someone's return felt more about their pride than their heart. Reflect on these experiences and share your thoughts in the comments below with this affirmation. I see beyond the ego and value authentic connection. Before we move forward, let me remind you to subscribe to our channel. By doing so, you're joining a community of individuals dedicated to navigating relationships with wisdom and strength. Together, we're exploring the complexities of human connections and growing into our best selves. All right, folks, stay tuned, because next, we're exploring another key trigger that brings someone back: the fear of being replaced. You won't want to miss what's coming up next. Number 6, the fear of being replaced, a powerful trigger. All right, folks, let's talk about one of the most compelling psychological triggers that often brings someone back after no contact: the fear of being replaced. This isn't just a fleeting worry. It's a deeply rooted fear that taps into our most primal emotions. When someone starts to imagine you moving on without them, it can stir an overwhelming sense of urgency and regret. Let's paint a picture here. You've stepped back, created distance, and focused on yourself. During this time, they begin to notice your absence. Initially, it might just feel like an inconvenience, losing someone who was always there to listen, care, or support. But as days turn into weeks, the narrative in their mind starts to shift. They begin to wonder, what if they've found someone else? What if I've been replaced? And folks, this thought isn't just unsettling, it's haunting. Psychologically, the fear of being replaced stems from our innate need for connection and validation. When someone realizes they've taken your presence for granted, the idea that someone else could now be enjoying the value you brought to the relationship can be devastating. It's not just about jealousy, it's about the stark realization that you're not waiting around for them. Your independence and ability to move forward highlight their vulnerability. Let me share an analogy to illustrate this. Think of a valuable item you've misplaced, maybe a favorite piece of jewelry or a sentimental memento. At first, you might shrug it off, thinking it'll turn up eventually. But as time passes, the possibility that it's truly gone starts to sink in. And if you imagine someone else finding and cherishing that item, the loss feels even greater. That's exactly how the fear of being replaced works in relationships. The thought of you thriving without them amplifies their sense of loss. But here's the important part, folks. The fear of being replaced isn't just about them. It's also a reflection of your growth. By stepping away, you've shown that your happiness and worth aren't tied to their presence. This isn't about playing games or creating insecurity. It's about prioritizing yourself and living authentically. Your confidence and independence serve as a powerful reminder of what they've lost. Now, let's consider how this dynamic often plays out. When someone feels threatened by the idea of being replaced, their first instinct might be to reach out impulsively. Maybe it's a casual text to test the waters, or perhaps a grand gesture to win back your attention. But here's the thing. Their actions are often driven by fear, not clarity. They're reacting to their emotions rather than thoughtfully considering what they truly want. This is where your awareness becomes crucial. When they come back, ask yourself, is this about me or is it about them? Are they reconnecting because they value the relationship and are ready to grow? Or are they simply trying to ease their own discomfort? Understanding their intentions will help you navigate their return with confidence and self-respect. Folks, let me ask you this. Have you ever been on either side of this dynamic? Maybe you've felt the fear of losing someone to someone else, or perhaps you've watched someone come back into your life for the same reason. These experiences are powerful because they teach us about the importance of valuing relationships before it's too late. I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. Share your experiences with this affirmation: I thrive in my worth. Before we move on, let me remind you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Joining us means becoming part of a community that supports personal growth, clarity, and healthy connections. Together, we're learning to navigate the complexities of relationships with wisdom and strength. All right, folks, stay tuned for the next section, where we'll explore another key trigger that often drives reconnection: the emotional impact of time and distance. Let's keep moving forward. Number 7, flourish in their absence. All right, folks, let's explore something truly transformative: how thriving without them can be your most powerful response. The period of no contact isn't just about silence. It's about creating the space for you to shine on your own terms. And believe me, when they see you flourishing, it shifts the entire dynamic. Picture this: you've pulled back, taken the time to focus on yourself, and suddenly, life starts to feel lighter. You're rediscovering passions, building new habits, and nurturing your growth. In their absence, you're proving not only to them, but also to yourself, that your happiness doesn't depend on anyone else. This realization is liberating, folks, because it gives you the confidence to live authentically and unapologetically. Now, let's talk about the psychology behind this. When you're thriving, it sends a powerful message. It shows that you're not waiting, wallowing, or wishing for their return. Instead, you're embracing life with open arms, moving forward with purpose. And folks, here's the kicker. This isn't about making them jealous or playing games. It's about reclaiming your narrative, your independence, and your joy. Think of it this way: when you invest in yourself, you're setting a standard. You're showing what you bring to the table and reminding them of what they've lost. But more importantly, you're aligning your life with your values, your goals, and your dreams. And that's the kind of energy that attracts not just them, but anyone who truly appreciates your worth. Let me ask you this. What's one thing you've started doing during no contact that's brought you joy. Maybe it's picking up a new hobby, deepening friendships, or simply spending more time on self-care. Share it in the comments with this affirmation: I thrive for myself. But folks, here's a crucial point to remember. Thriving doesn't mean pretending to be okay when you're not. It's about authenticity. It's okay to have tough days, to feel the weight of emotions, and to process the pain. Thriving is about navigating these moments with grace and resilience, knowing that they're part of your growth. When they see you thriving, it sparks something powerful. They start to question their assumptions, their decisions, and their own role in the relationship. But here's the thing: their return isn't the goal. Your journey is. Whether they come back or not, you've already won by choosing to prioritize your well-being. So, folks, as you navigate this journey, remember to celebrate every step forward, no matter how small. Each moment of growth, each act of self-love, and each decision to thrive is a testament to your strength. And that strength is what makes you truly magnetic. All right, folks, we've come to the end of this powerful journey, and I hope you've gained valuable insights into why no contact works and how to navigate it with strength and purpose. Remember, no contact isn't just about them. It's about you. It's about rediscovering your worth, reclaiming your independence, and growing into the best version of yourself. If you take one thing away from today's video, let it be this: you are your greatest investment. By choosing to focus on yourself, you're setting the foundation for healthier, more fulfilling relationships, whether with them or someone entirely new. Your journey of growth is magnetic, and those who truly value you will recognize it. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Share in the comments below. What's one thing you've learned about yourself during no contact? Let's keep the conversation going, because your story could inspire someone else. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss another video on personal growth, relationships, and self-empowerment. Thank you for being here, folks. You're stronger and more capable than you realize. Until next time, take care of yourselves, and remember, you've got this. See you in the next video.